No, not true. Not true. No, no. I'm on speedtest.net right now, bud.
See right now, you're still answering no, and I stopped talking a while ago.
Hello, and thank you very much for downloading this most recent episode of Movie Guys Podcast. You can download many more episodes at movieguyspodcast.podbean.com.
Finally here. This is like Christmas morning for me. I've been waiting months and months and months. We're talking about Godzilla -1. Eric, how the hell are you doing?
Not as excited as you are. You did some homework on this. You said you went full Godzilla mode and you were watching a festival, huh?
All week.
So what did you tackle? Because it seems like Godzilla, or at least the franchise of Godzilla, the dinosaur, the monster itself, has really just gone into territory that I didn't even know existed. Like there's been comics, there's been TV shows,
Sure.
there's been obviously movies. There are web shorts, everything Godzilla, T-shirts, shoes, socks, underwear, backpacks, thermoses, even
onesies, thongs,
everywhere.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure there's even a weed strain.
Probably.
Yeah. So tell me. You this is going to be you teaching me, because I don't know too much about Godzilla. I know that there's different variations that more often than not, this is from the Matthew Broderick version here, that is Godzilla a atomic lizard? Is it the result of radiation that turned a lizard into a giant and is now angry?
Short answer is yes. Right. So in the world of Godzilla, they talk about it in the first film. There was always like guys out at sea in Japan, like before World War II and stuff. Right. There was always these old tales of like the giant sea monster Godzilla, kind of like a kraken, if you will. Right. Like never was a real thing, just sea tales. Right. But what made the sea tales reality was the birth of the nuclear bomb. That's what happened. So, and then what really kind of made Godzilla happen was the atomic test from Americans in Bikini Bottom.
Okay,
and that's that's what created Godzilla.
And this is not to be confused with the rehash of what we're getting now in this Kong vs. Godzilla era of movies that we're getting now, where Godzilla is just an ancient being that was unearthed, that was that him and Kong were ancient beings before that lived very long ago and ruled this earth.
Yeah, no BS. Yeah, made up. Yeah, that's not a thing. I am not a Godzilla fanboy. Right, I want to make that clear for people that are listening, meaning that I don't know the history of Godzilla as well as some guys that may. Right, like if you later this year when we do Alien Romulus, Eric, you might as well not show up for that episode. It's just going to be me talking. Like I'm a fanboy with Alien, but with this one, I know more than the average bear. Okay. Because I am a fan, just not a fanboy. The first Godzilla movie I ever saw was Godzilla 1984, but the American version was 1985, and the only way you can watch it is on YouTube because of legal disputes. Like you can't buy it. Sure. So it's on YouTube. I showed you. I sent you a link of the movie. Yeah, what'd you think of that one? Godzilla of '85. That was the first one I watched.
Boy, I tell you that what was something. I prefer it over the 98 version.
Yeah, sure. Well, the 98 version is not what Godzilla... I mean, do I want to say, because I've said it a few times off air, right? Godzilla is a metaphor for the nuclear bomb, right? So the 98 version...
That's pretty apparent now, right? And the 98 version was its own bomb.
Yeah, no, it kind of jumped the shark on that one, right?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Did you watch clips at all of the original Gojira from '54? Did you check it out?
In clips in that of other movie channels on YouTube doing a in-depth review, there are some Godzilla fanboys, more like just monster fanboys, that really
Sure.
went into depth about talking about the history of it. Of course, how you had said before, how about Godzilla is really just a metaphor for the nuclear bomb, and the kind of I don't want to say honor, if that's the right word for that, but kind of maybe that they are the respect of kind of what had happened, how they're really focusing on the tragedy that is and trying to make it more, I don't know, not as dark and morbid as it was in their history, and to kind of have this to be something almost that overtakes it. That they don't want Japan to be known for as the city that got bombed completely. Of course, it's going to be, right?
Right, right.
Uh,
I
but in its destruction, to have it almost be easier, or a less, maybe a smaller pill to swallow, to have it be fictionalized. Again, those videos explained it a bit better than I'm doing right now, but
Right. No, I mean, like it's a lot easier to blame a giant lizard than a country. And I didn't know this until this review, but like I guess Japan still to this day does not have a nuclear program. Like Japan does not practice anything nuclear,
oh geez,
which
okay.
I find very fascinating.
Well,
But Eric,
besides their power plants, right?
right, but not they don't have nuclear bombs.
I get it. Not for weaponized, but for energy purposes, probably yes.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Godzilla coming into this. I'm excited. Um, Godzilla Minus One is on Netflix right now. Everybody can watch it. And I watched this on a Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the day of the review, I was Godzillaing myself. Excited for this one. It took you a few times to watch this, you said, off air. And
Godzilla
it took me
Minus
one
One.
sitting. Yeah, it took me one sitting. It took you a few tries.
Yeah, and that's more so just for the story build of it. I think I was just kind of quick to get into the action. Uh, I will say that I am happy that I did finish it, because after Godzilla Minus One, by the way, too,
Mhm.
after maybe like an hour in, after it attacks, what's that first city that Godzilla attacks?
Starts with a G, like Ganaiba or
Yeah,
Gina, or
I'm
something like that.
trying to look it up here. But after Ginza,
Ginza.
yeah, if I said that right, after it attacked Ginza, I was like, okay, I'm on board. And
Yeah.
really the reason is because I found the main character to be honest with you, Jordan, a bit insufferable, man.
Why?
Because he's just a punk bitch. he's a he is. He's like some coward, and and also in, not necessarily, I don't want to call it traditional, but how Japanese, they have this weird way of emoting. I don't want to say weird, but they exaggerate their emotions a bit.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it happens a lot. It happens in just the part of the culture, not just acting, but in conversation as well too. It's just a way for them to show the expression, so it's very clear. And there are a lot of times, Kochi was this guy's name, right? Yeah,
The main guy?
the main guy,
Yeah.
where uh, he's the way that he's doing it. It was just kind of, I don't know, an eye roll for me. But that's personal preference. It didn't take away from a lot from the movie. It helped in the end, for sure. But I was just maybe waiting for a bit more of that beef that the movie gives, and it does. Listen,
Yeah.
again, as first 45 minutes, I think it was just me, just kind of like, okay, let's get to it. Characters, this, I get it. Scientist here, captain there. Okay, sailor, got it. Boats, war, where yada yada yada. But when we got to it, I was ready. This was
Was
I started watching it and I was like, okay, I actually like this now, and I think the second half of the movie was a lot better than the first half of this movie.
I agree and disagree because that's why I wanted to say that I'm kind of the Godzilla fan because you got some classics, right? So you got like the original Gojira, and you got some other ones later on, right? You got like Destroy All Monsters, and you got Godzilla versus Mothra, right? Godzilla versus King Kong, right? You have some big ones, right? That came out,
I
and
have the whole list of it right
yeah,
here, and
all
boy,
yeah,
we're talking over 30. So I think this is
yeah,
the 30,
33.
yeah, 33.
Right. I mean, the first three are interesting. Like it's Gojira, then it's Godzilla raids again, and then the third one is King Kong versus Godzilla. Which, fun fact, if you watch the American version of King Kong versus Godzilla, the original, King Kong wins. If you watch the Japanese version, Godzilla wins. Just
God bless America.
God bless America. Mm. But for you to say to me off air before, oh, Jordan, this is a chore, it's like, oh, he don't know a Godzilla movie. Because seeing your reaction, how you kind of got giddy about the second part, right? Like, that's what makes the Godzilla movie. Because the whole point of the movie is we want to see a dude in a lizard suit knocking over Tonka trucks. Like, that's what we want, right? We want to see the destruction. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna see the characters hardly anymore after that, right? It's gonna be all eyes on monster. So you kind of want to have some sort of a drama, some sort of a MacGuffin, some sort of something to kind of get you involved, right? Now this movie is remake slash reboot. Since I am a fan, the only thing really that this thing has in common with the OG Godzilla was their plan to kill Godzilla at the end of the movie. That was pretty much kind of sort of the 54 version of what they were trying to do. But these characters, this is all new for this movie.
Sure. And again, I think the reason why I was just kind of impatient might be the word for the beginning of this, just because they developed a bit of this love story where Kochi, ashamed from his attempts at being a kamikaze pilot, and then he feels very much responsible, and partly so, for the killings of the engineers on, was it Ozo Island or something like that? And
I don't agree at all.
he chickened out on shooting the gun, but either way,
We'll talk about it.
it's his. We'll talk about it. Yeah, the way that he is putting on himself, understandably
Sure.
so. I get that, and maybe, but still, the disgraced pilot that he kind of chickened out from the mission, chickens out from shooting the gun. He just has this inner thing that says, no, don't do it. Wait, But it all comes together at the end. Again, I was impatient just because after the war, he goes back to whatever part of Japan he's going to, and right, like he meets Noriko. Noriko has not her daughter, but an orphaned girl, Akiko. I hope I'm saying these names right. Doesn't matter. And they kind of have this existence, this cohabiting together, right? And it resembles a family. It gets to that point where they're trying to have a normal life after the war, which I realize this is called -1 because World War II set them at 0. They're already flat. And this is explained in the trailer, and this is explained a bit more in the synopsis too, where they're at 0 as an economy, as a society, as everything, and then Godzilla is the -1. He's
Yes,
there to
cool.
add more destruction on top of an already depressed
Distraught.
and very ruined town and country. So,
But before you go on though, I want to talk about the beginning, right? So what's the again me and Japanese names. So what's the main guy's name?
Kochi,
Kochi. So you said that Kochi's a punk bitch. Those are your words.
Shikishima,
Sure. Main dude.
Shikishima.
Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt. That's his name. He's the main guy, right? Brad Pitt. He's not a punk ass bitch. I actually identify with him a lot, right? Because even the characters in the movie say, that the Japanese Empire would lie to us with their propaganda. He didn't want to be a kamikaze pilot. We know what a kamikaze pilot is. He didn't punk bitch out. He just didn't want to die killing himself in a plane going after, the Allies. It's not a punk bitch. You just don't want to do that. Right?
I understand. I'm agreeing with you completely, but
Yeah,
at the same part, it's for country, and a
so what?
lot of people listen. Half the people are gonna agree with you and saying, "Yeah, listen, I don't want to. I'm not gonna die in another man's war." And there's the other part that says you disgraced your name, your honor. He even comes back, right? And
Right.
when he comes back, he gets reprimanded by one of the villagers or a neighbor or something like that, saying
The
like, "Why didn't you
neighbor.
come back?"
They
Yeah.
shouldn't have come back. Now, there is one thing, because this movie's going to get a lot of praise from me, but there's one thing that I was really annoyed with. So he's on, Asoko Island, which is like a mechanic shop for kamikaze planes. And the mechanics are like, oh my God, you survived, let's help you out. And then he goes to the seabed, like on these rocks, and he sees a bunch of dead fish floating. You're like, are they turned inside out, or I don't know, there's just a bunch of dead fish floating.
Yeah, I don't know if they looked partially cooked or
Yeah, it was something.
yeah.
And then we get straight up Jurassic Park Godzilla. Like Godzilla was big, but like T-Rex big. And that really kind of ticked me off a little bit because I was like, okay, we got baby Godzilla. There was no, okay. But I do like the acting, right? So I actually rewound it a few times, right? Because I'm watching on Netflix and these dudes would be standing or sitting, screaming, waving their arms, right? And there'd be scenes when T-Rex Godzilla chomps on them.
Yeah.
And while they're waving their arms, he chomps and they just go limp. I'm just like, oh my God. And then he throws them. He doesn't eat them, he throws them. And while he throws them, they're screaming bloody murder. I'm like, you just got thousands of teeth through you. You're screaming? I thought you're dead. And then they were like, hey, this mechanic dude was like, hey, Brad Pitt, go into the ship there and into your plane and start shooting this thing. You know what? I probably would have done the same thing. He would have known that those things would have destroyed it. We know later, too, that nothing destroys Godzilla, right? No man-made stuff destroys Godzilla. And if he would have done that, he would have been killed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I get completely, again, the survival part of it. And some would argue that he's smart for not doing that because he
I'm arguing
probably knows, yeah, exactly, that it's pointless. It's completely useless to shoot these guns because all it's gonna do is just piss this giant off.
Right. So then he goes back to Japan. He runs to his neighbor, whose city is destroyed completely. I don't know if it's Tokyo. I think he goes to Tokyo.
Yeah,
it is Tokyo, and I thought that was his neighbor or his cousin, one of the two. And you're right. She was like, how dare you show your face here? You're a kamikaze pilot. You should be dead. By the way, BS, right? Back in the day for the Japanese Empire, if you're a kamikaze pilot, you shouldn't come back. It's a disgrace if you come back. Screw that.
Oh no,
screw that.
Many of the soldiers, I do remember this from history class, if they would often just flee and go either to one of the islands or just elsewhere and flee in disgrace because they knew if they came back from failing their mission, that it would be a life worse than death.
Yeah, I don't like talking about it on air, but I will say this, and then we can move on. Meaning my grandfather who passed away recently, he was a World War II vet, but he got on in 45, right? So he was right in the battle of the war.
Sure.
And he was stationed on the Philippines. He was on the ship in the Philippines, and he was there after the bombs dropped. Right?
Okay.
And he would tell me they would the Japanese in the Philippines would still fight because they refused that the war ended. And I was like, really? They would still shoot at you guys? And he's like, oh yeah, because they refused. They didn't believe it.
Never give up, never surrender. It was like the Pacific, right?
Right.
That series. So sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
God, that was not as good as Band of Brothers. But anyway, so still good though. So this is where Brad Pitt runs into a thief with a heart of gold in the market, right? Like the city's just depressed, and he runs into this girl and gives him her baby. And like he did what every right guy. This is in the moment of the movie where you realize that this guy could be a punk, like you say. But also you can see that he's not a bad dude because dude's handed this baby. He's holding this baby. Eventually, he puts the baby down, decides to walk away. I'm sure many of us would do that, but then he has a conscience and it's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Right. So then he starts to take the baby home to his hut, right? Because that's all he has. It's like what, like a garage is left from his house, I believe, right? Just like a garage.
It's the
It's
best he can
something.
do.
Right. And then the woman that gave it to him, we find out, like you said, she
pops out. She was hiding because the
yeah.
authorities were after her.
And now they're not in love, but they're not married, but they're just like the odd couple, if you will. She's doing her thing, he's doing his thing.
Surviving together, and after a while you have that trauma bond that forms with them. Feelings form for her, and I think we later find out that he has feelings as well too, but he, as we see during this time, he still has nightmares. He's still plagued by not just the war, which I'm sure is damaging enough already, but by the unknown of Godzilla, knowing that he's still at war. Is that what he says? That he has his own war?
I don't think he's plagued by war because we only can do what the movie tells us. He doesn't have nightmares of the war. We don't see him battling the Allies. We see him afraid of Godzilla.
Well, right, but I'm saying that because all the other people make comment about that war is traumatizing, and we can admit, obviously, for all the wars that we've been in. No, but that I'm sure we live a very cushy life, but war changes a person. But
Sure.
this person, who you would think would have normal war trauma, is it's not even comes close to the trauma of seeing what Godzilla was, and
Right.
that's the cause of his sleepless nights. And he's obviously not going to be able to rest until he comes to terms with I don't know, something. He feels guilty. He has
Right.
he has survivor's guilt already for coming back as a failed kamikaze pilot, but then
Right.
coming
Yeah.
back from not helping those engineers on that island. And again, I don't know what else he could have done, but he has the guilt.
Before we get into the good stuff, again, I can see that you're kind of dicking this even before the Godzilla stuff happens. Like you're really kind of into the story. It seems like
It's because it does come around at the end.
that's why you like it.
I understand. Well, again, at the end of it, because you get the other characters that are on the boat, right? The scientist, the captain, the greenhorn, and this guy. And I think when it comes to the end of it, it comes together. It got a little corny, to be honest, at the end when you thought the woman was dead, and it turns out that she's just got a Band-Aid on her eye in a hospital.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, I was kind of pissed about that.
But I think it was a great detail to add that he wanted to do the kamikaze. That his character came back around. The arc was complete.
Good storytelling.
Yes, exactly. He came through. He saw an opportunity to make right what he thought he did wrong, and to amend the guilt that he thought that he created for himself and for everyone else by chickening out, or what he thought, his self built guilt that he
Sure.
gave. And it came to a point when at the end, when he was doing all these actions, that he found out that everyone, just like you, had that part where just like, hey, listen, you don't need to kill yourself for this. That's a dumb thing to do. We all realize that what we were doing and the war that we fought was pointless, and it didn't get us anywhere. It got us to zero. It destroyed families, friends, neighbors, all of us. So if you have something to live for, you should live. And he did it with Akiko, the little girl, especially after losing where he thought he was lost the woman Noriko. Um, and yeah, I think that it was just a full arc. It was done in the appropriate amount of time, and yeah, I was dismissive at first, and then it brought me right back just because the story was like, okay, good, thank you.
Right.
It doesn't need to be an overcomplicated thing, and it wasn't.
No, it's very simple, right?
Guy had a challenge, and he rose to the challenge and completed.
Right. So now this is the point where the main guy, Brad Pitt as I call him, because I can't say his name, decides that he's going to go on a ship with, like you said, the scientist, the kid, and the captain, and their job is to fish out old mines that the Allies put around Japan.
Right.
And this is when they discover Godzilla, right? Like, Godzilla's huge at this point,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
I love this. This got me excited, right? So he's starting to get some money, right? They're moving out of the garage. They're starting to make the house nicer. They're building the house. Like, life is going good because of the job that he's doing. Also, before Godzilla 2, he had dinner with his coworkers and his not his girlfriend, but his roommate, and then like that little girl would say "daddy," and he would say, "I told you I'm not your daddy," and it's like, oh, that's heartbreaking.
It's like, yeah,
right?
damn, especially because that girl is cute as a button.
And she has no idea. And this is something you have a conversation with her when she's like 16. You don't do this now, right? And this guy's just cold, man, right?
Yeah.
But then this is where Godzilla comes. The greatest shot in this whole movie, the greatest shot, I hope you agree with me, is they're on this little orca, right? Or orca meaning Jaws, right? They're on this little boat, and Godzilla emerges. And this thing is huge, and they're running away from it. Godzilla destroys a destroyer battleship, and then he's swimming behind him with all you see is his head kind of poking out of water a little bit. And it's like, that's freaking scary. Like, that's worse than Jaws or anything, right? That's a great shot.
A lot of what they did
shot.
For pretty much all the Godzilla scenes I thought were really cool. I can understand why this movie won Best Visual Effects at the Academy, at the Oscars, and it was really, really cool. Obviously, Godzilla can tread water like a champion as well, too. That tail must be doing overtime because he can just, float up waist high and do what he needs to do. But listen, I'd say almost every scene with Godzilla was just really cool to look at. I think they did him right. It wasn't like the lizard dinosaur raptor thing like we got in '98. He wasn't completely costume corny like in the '80s or the '50s version of it, even though those are fun as well too. In the new one, the one with Bryan Cranston and who's the other dude?
Just Godzilla. Kick-ass guy.
Yeah, 2014 Godzilla, right?
Right.
With Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Right.
That's his name. I like that's Godzilla was cool, but we got for such a long movie, we only got like a little bit of time. Like that was like a 2-hour movie, and we only got maybe like, I don't know, 15 something minutes with actual Godzilla, where a lot of it was just kind of a scene of a tale or a roar of this, and a lot of it was more story oriented. Like, and that was cool. I liked it, but this really got to see like full camera, center stage, Godzilla just ripping through it. And this is just like, yes, thank you. That's what I wanted to see.
No, and then when Godzilla lands, in Giza? What's the in Giza? And he destroys that city. Oh,
it's Ginza, but we can say
Giza. That I loved when he destroyed that city. That was me. And of course, the Japanese reporters. That guy's a jerk, right? Like that Japanese news reporter is on top of the
The
roof,
roof, yeah.
right? The roof, and he's just like, "Oh my God, there it is! There's Godzilla! This is going to be the end. We are going to die." It's like, oh my God, like, and then Godzilla knocks the like a piece of the building down, and they just fall to their deaths, and Godzilla would like stop, like he would walk, and you would hear people do like that, kind of like that Wilhelm screaming away, like
Yeah.
that. It just boom, squish. Like that destruction of that city was amazing.
The way that Godzilla destroyed this city, and I'm not kidding you. I think the best way to compare about this is that when when I was a kid playing, and you build like a sandcastle or something,
Yeah.
and you pretend to like destroy the city. I think Godzilla did the exact same way, like how I would do it. Right, bash it with the fist, smash it with your feet, tail whip everything, and just obviously everything around him was just destroyed. And
hmm
then and then the
The
charge up.
atomic,
Yeah,
the atomic, yeah, which is kind of BS, but kind of modern, right? So like in the original Godzilla, of course the original was black and white, but in the '60s when they got in color, his whole I don't know, spine tail thing would just light up blue.
yeah,
And he would just shoot the fire. It didn't have like this charging effect where it would boom, boom, like on a spike. So it didn't do that. But it was kind of an eye roll because this movie's a love letter to the original movie to me.
sure.
But that atomic breath, I mean, that was an atomic bomb. That was a nuke that he shoots out.
Yeah, yeah. That looked really cool. Everything about that visually was just perfect the way I wanted it. I enjoyed the one in Godzilla 2014. I thought that was pretty cool the way he did that. We've
Yeah.
obviously seen another one where like the other Godzilla had like more of like a fire breath or like a molten kind of a breath before, but
The one in '85.
yeah, and
Yeah.
this is more, or like Shin Godzilla. I think it
Yeah.
had, yeah, kind of had the same thing where it was more like a incendiary, but this one was, I think, what we all, or what most visualized it as, just a charge up of breath, a blast, and yeah, a megaton bomb just blowing
Right.
it up. It was great. And then after that, you're just like, holy, what else? He just leveled the whole city. He's like, what else is there left, man? And he just is like, well, job's done. I'm gonna go back to the water.
Yeah, which some of the Godzilla movies, right, have tried to explain why does he go on shore and destroy these cities, right?
Yeah.
And in this movie, they try to do that where they say that, oh, Godzilla must be territorial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I mean, whatever, right? That's your mulligan, okay. But but when he shoots the atomic blast and the whole city just gets blasted, right? The girlfriend's trying to save Brad Pitt, so she pushes him into an alleyway. She gets blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, girl dead. Also, there's a lot of great scenes, excuse me, that we didn't talk about, right? Like they did some callbacks to the original, right? Because it's even on the posters where Godzilla has the train in his mouth.
Sure. Oh yeah.
They do that in this movie.
Yeah.
They do this in the movie. I thought that was a great scene too, right? Where Godzilla bites on the train and she's hanging on. It's all the sequence is great. She gets blown away. She's dead, right? There's no way. But you and I assuming that she's dead breaks movie guy's code because Eric,
Nobody, no death.
no body, no death. So Brad Pitt's upset. He's distraught. He's going to kill Godzilla once and for all. And the scientist has a plan. I hope I don't go cross-eyed. So the plan is we're going to trap Godzilla in this body of water that's the deepest around the island. And then we're going to have air, helium, something
Freon tanks.
to suck him down.
Yeah, because the water is salt water, and so because of that, they assume that he's buoyant and he's floating for some reason, and so having the Freon tanks around it would obviously dissolve that enough to where it would just sink completely to the bottom of the trench.
and drown him.
No, they would have the water pressure crush him.
Which that didn't happen.
So plan B
is to have these pillows bring him up, and with the pressure, it would collapse him and crush him.
Yeah, have decompression. Yes, have it to where he was, immense amount of pressure on him, but then they would bring him back up to where the decompression would obviously, kind of screw him up.
I love how this Godzilla, just like in the original, ultimately is America's fault, and then the people in the movie are like, "Are we getting help from America?" Nope, you're on your own.
Yeah. They made some comments about like getting stuff from like the UN, right?
Yeah, some battleships from
Battleships,
the UN.
yeah.
Yeah, but so like this colonel or somebody, right, goes and he recruits like a militia, right? He recruits like a local militia. Is like, hey guys, you're all gonna die, like in Alien 3, right? You're all gonna die, but hey, let's do this. And like some guys are like, no, I would say no.
Yeah.
I'm going back to my family. Hey, you want to die? No?
Yeah.
I'm
We
good.
already fought one war. We don't need to do this again.
We lost bad, so we're not gonna do this. And then they're like, okay, we come up with this plan that we don't know is gonna work, but we're gonna try. Right? By the way, I don't want to skip all the way to the end because we got a lot to talk about, but egg on the scientist's face, right? Because the plan doesn't work at all.
Well, yeah, maybe not to the way
does.
it didn't work the way they wanted it to. I guess what they didn't account for was, well, the resistance of Godzilla, that this thing would actually fight back.
Right, which is one thing I do want to talk about now. Thank you for that, right? So one thing that this movie does that I don't remember in any Godzilla movies, or they'd ever talk about it, is that, remember when they first saw Godzilla, and I was talking about how he had his head above water, right? And they shot the mine in his mouth, and they blew like half his head off, right?
Yes.
The next shot is his skin and everything starts to regenerate. And it's like, oh, Godzilla constantly regenerates. I don't think, and I'm sure people will tell me I'm wrong, but I've not seen in my Godzilla films where that's ever been said. So that's a neat little feature where it's like, oh, this is why he always survives our bullets or tanks, just because he constantly regenerates. That's a cool idea. I like that.
Yeah, it does add a nice variable into, well, trying to fight this thing, and how are you going to do it? That's, I think, adds to why the scientist chose the method that he did, to say that at the bottom of that trench is going to be constant pressure, so that it would be hard for him to regenerate, or that having him kind of float up so rapidly would cause like some sort of explosive decompression.
There's a very good science explanation.
Make the blood boil, kind of a thing. And again, they're doing their best.
Right. So while this is going on, our main guy Brad Pitt has to find the mechanic that he failed. The one other person that survived the attack on Jurassic Island. I mean,
yeah.
Isla Nublar.
Tademasa.
Dude, like, I love this mechanic, right? So this guy, our hero writes like letters saying that like the mechanic was a coward, or like saying like these things to draw him out, to get him out.
Yeah.
Right?
Blamed him for everything.
Right. And then eventually he comes out. Also, Japanese culture is interesting. So it happened twice, but so when the main dude was like in the post office or wherever, or like records or something, where the guy wouldn't give him information on the mechanic, he would like slam his head down and like beg. And then he did that again later. That must be a Japanese thing.
The bow, yeah.
Yeah, he just did that. So then eventually the mechanic.
The mechanic's name is Tachibana.
It's just going to be called the mechanic, but I'm not going to disrespect the guy. I mean, I'm not going to. But anyway, the mechanic finds him and beats the living crap out of him, like Hawk ties him and stuff. And he's just like, "Why'd you send these horrible letters?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to get you out. Only you can fix this plane. That's like this super plane that will get me to defeat Godzilla, right?" And then they talk about the injector seat, right? And Brad Pitt knows, main dude knows that he's going, at this point in time, he knows he's going in to die, right? Because his plan is to fly into Godzilla's mouth and just explode, right? That's his plan.
Yes.
But the camera pans away, but we find out that the mechanic's like, here's an ejector seat here, big guy. You should probably not be stupid and use that. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Or he corrected, because I remember the scientist talking before about the war, about how the country let them down. They didn't let the country down. And then this is again going to that ideology that the honor that they would have fighting in the war was foolish, because really they were just being sent like pawns, and to die for a country that never believed in them in the first place.
Right.
And the scientist said basically stuff that, like, they gave us planes that were ill-equipped, without even ejector seats, without proper munitions. They gave us all this gear and equipment that was budgeted, that was on the cheap side of everything like that. And if they really wanted us to survive and win the war with honor, then they would have had more thought, more of a plan that went into this, rather than just Zerg rush the enemy with us, with our bodies, and just hit them with numbers rather than any actual plan. But I think that all of the veterans had that same like mind, where they were just like, there's a better way to do this.
Right.
And this was their chance, albeit not a war, but still a fight, to show that.
Right. No, I mean, I agree, but I wish Godzilla would have destroyed or started to destroy another city, because he gets close to the city with the piers, but then he gets distracted by the plane, right? And well, no, I guess he does, right? Doesn't he go to Godzilla goes to the farm?
Yeah, Sagami Bay,
Land.
and completely, yeah, because he throws a boat at the docks, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's like in farm country, and all these Amish people are like, "What the heck is that?"
Yeah, and we get to see kind of the classic Godzilla walk, right, where it was just kind of a stiff left, right, left, right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was.
And then you had the
music.
music. The music.
Every time I hear it.
Burr, 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 burr. Amazing.
I sent you that booty music, and I can't not think of the ghetto techno remix of
Godzilla.
of Godzilla. Shout out DJ Assault.
And so now our hero's in a plane, and he's distracted him, and get him out to the water again, to get him into the trench. And they do the plan, right? I told you the plane doesn't work, right? So they take him, he doesn't go all the way down either to the trench. The plan works, right? So they wrap him up in this thing, and then he goes down, but he doesn't go down all the way.
Yeah, I think originally they wanted him to go something like 2,500 feet, but I think he only got to 18 right before he ripped off the belt, before he started to rip off the buoys that were, or whatever thing that was taking him down.
And then he rises up again, and then the pillow thing doesn't happen, right? So now we know that our hero has to do something, right? He has to kamikaze this. And this is where you said you kind of like the part, right? Where he gets so close to Godzilla's mouth, and he has a bomb on the plane, and right before he gets Godzilla's mouth, he ejects. I like this movie too, how it's kind of cool, where it's like, we have seen this movie before, where the guy would fly the plane into the monster's mouth, but it would literally go into the monster's mouth and down to his throat and in his stomach, This movie...
I got flashes of Independence Day, actually, when he was doing it.
Right. In this movie, he hits his mouth and just stops.
Yeah.
It just stops, like boom, right? Like that makes sense. Like that would happen
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, direct hit in. Yeah, I also liked when Godzilla came up. A few different details actually. One was in the first encounter before they do the plan where they sink him and then he comes up again. Godzilla puts his atomic breath onto the decoy boats. And we saw a detail that the atomic breath, or the heat ray as they called it in the movie, kind of burned part of his face, Godzilla's face. And so it took Godzilla a moment to regenerate and recover after that blast, after the heat ray that he had let out. Which, okay, pretty cool. I get that. Anyway, fast forwarding to the plan where they sink him, doesn't work. They float him back up, doesn't work. And so now Godzilla's pissed, and they're really trying to do something here, right? And as Godzilla's charging up another atomic breath or heat ray again to kill all of the tugboats that came to rescue at the last minute and the warship. I don't know if you caught this detail, but probably from the decompression, there were like white like wounds, boils all over Godzilla's skin.
Oh, I didn't notice that, but that's a great detail.
Yeah, so you could tell that obviously he was affected and weakened. I guess we can say pointed out like that, but enough to where he's just like, well, I'm gonna rip this breath out anyway, here, bud. And that's when we get the Independence Day moment where just as he's about to fire,
hey boys, I'm back. And then of course, he doesn't kamikaze himself. He ejects right away, and Godzilla's head gets pretty much blown away.
Yeah, and then he kind of just falls apart. Yeah.
Humans are happy, right? Everybody's happy. Everybody's celebrating. Nobody, no death. Girlfriend who survived nuclear blast just has bandages over her head, and she's in a hospital. And now the main character loves her, and they can have a happy family.
Yep.
And the girl is, and the young child is young enough to where she'll not remember him getting drunk and saying, "I'm not your dad." That baby don't look like me. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, she definitely was a bit more damaged than I think the movie maybe could have done a little better job. I thought she was gonna be like horribly
She should have been.
But she had the bandage over her eye. She had a big bruise creeping up on her neck. And
well, did you see something else though that was moving, like kind of like a vein when she hugged him?
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know. Hopefully, we'll get it in the sequel.
That's I don't know. Like Godzilla movies are like James Bond, right? It's very rare where the next movie follows the last one, but like because she hugs him, right, and then you see like this vein thing kind of moving in her neck. I mean, and they were saying in the movie that after this Godzilla attack that there was radiation everywhere. I wonder if it's radiation poisoning.
Yep, it could be it too. Maybe she turns into Bride of Godzilla.
Godzuki.
Excuse me.
Right. And then the last shot of the movie is we go back into the trench, and Godzilla is this clump of cells, essentially, that started to regenerate again, to raid again, if you will.
Yes. So hopefully, I don't know, we'll get a Godzilla +1.
I hope so, right? Because everybody thought in 2016 that Shin Godzilla was going to bring it back, and that movie was cool, but it didn't hit like this movie did.
Yeah. I think you're right that there's a hard problem with these Godzilla movies, and that is to put the story around Godzilla and not over-explain it. I feel Godzilla 98 had a problem with that where they try to over-explain everything. And so you don't need to... there could be a piece of mystery here. We don't need one Matthew Broderick to go around and be like, oh, it must be this. It must be this. It's got to be... Oh, it's trying to reproduce. It just needs...
Asexually.
Yeah, it's just nesting. Oh, or
Can I?
anything that needs to be explained. It can just be like, hey, listen, we got this thing that's pissed off and destroying everything.
Honest question, though. Okay, so I don't know if you're going to take this as a joke, but I'm trying to make it an honest question. You know how we've been saying throughout this episode that Godzilla is a metaphor for the nuclear bomb, right?
Sure.
Godzilla 98, not that far away. Do you think I mean, we reviewed it last year and you and Sarah docked it, but could we say that is our 9/11 metaphor? I'm just saying.
I don't think so because it's.
I mean, there's some scenes though. There's some shots.
Yeah. I'm sure you can find the comparison to it, but in that, hey, listen, both were an inside job, right?
There you go.
Because the military destroyed more of New York than Godzilla ever did in that movie, and we obviously know that jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams or whatever the hell that that conspiracy theory is.
Nice. I'm just saying, like it would have been interesting if Godzilla, Matthew Broderick came out in 2003. Maybe it would have hit different.
That would have been way too soon.
I don't know. I mean, Japan got bombed in 45, and in 54 they did Godzilla. 9 years later, I'm just saying.
We got. What would a good movie like that be, or a good comparison to that? I don't know because.
Well, they made a World Trade Center movie with Nicolas Cage.
They made a few, and then there was that one with Robert Pattinson, right?
Yeah, that wasn't a World Trade Center movie though. That was like a romantic drama, and the last shot was, I'm gonna look out this window. Oh, a plane. Credits.
Yeah, exactly. But whatever. There's tons of movies like that because either you make it completely, you can't make it satirical, and to make something like a monster movie destroying Twin Towers would be too on the nose. I guess
He was King Kong did it in 74.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think no better
Remember
movie. I think you're right. I think there would be no better franchise than Jordan, and ride along with me on this one if you must, than Jurassic World.
Yes.
The dinosaurs coming to New York and destroying New York City. Because we tampered. We interfered. We overreached as a nation, and we played God. And now nature's coming back. Nature finds a way.
You're going to keep on reviewing them with me, buddy. Jurassic World, you're going to keep on reviewing because it's coming out.
Yep. They just keep on happening.
They do. This movie keeps on happening.
Yeah, it's going to be to the point where there's going to be more Jurassic movies than Godzilla movies.
Unfortunately.
You think they do crossovers like Godzilla did? Godzilla with the Fantastic Four?
Oh, yeah.
And
Godzilla versus Mr. Fantastic. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Invisible Girl. Where'd she go?
There you go. Jurassic World versus X-Men. I think that should happen.
Yeah. Jurassic World versus Deadpool.
Blade, Dinosaur Hunter.
Probably. I mean, like they're going to change the title like they did with the new Captain America because they don't want to upset their conspiracy theories. Did you hear about that? And we'll get our popcorn rating. I'm sorry. But that just came out recently. Did you hear that?
What is that?
So the new Captain America movie is coming out in February, which is a bad sign, right? Because they're dumping Captain America in February. So that's, right?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm too woke.
The original title for years has been Captain America New World Order.
Right.
But Disney was afraid because of conspiracy theories, so they changed it to Brave New World.
Oh, all right. Well, whatever.
So...
Listen, Disney's been dropping the ball lately. I think we all know that.
Right. So, Mandalorian versus Godzilla?
Oh, there we go.
Grogu
and Godzilla.
Yeah, that'd be Grogu just pick up Godzilla with his force. Anyway, okay. All right. I mean, obviously this is a large, right? Because I was excited. You knew I was going to get this large. People that download this episode as soon as I spoke knew I was going to get this large. This movie's amazing. This movie is visually amazing. Yes, the story is kind of drag because you're here to see Godzilla. But what makes the movie good is that, like you said, the movie has a beginning, middle, and an end, and it goes all the way through, and you care about the main characters. Godzilla's in this movie probably less than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-hour film. I'm so glad that I live in a world and I'm alive to see somebody remake or reboot the original Godzilla, because that's pretty much what this is. And this proves my point that these movies deserve to go back in the time frame that they originated in. I mean, King Kong sucks when he's in modern time. So does Godzilla.
I like Skull Island.
Yeah, you do, and I don't. We all remember that review and that weekend. But
oh yeah, what a weekend!
That movie sucks, and you know it does. But no, this movie is really, really good. I don't have much to say. It's really good. Check it out. I'm a big fan, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do next, personally. So a large bag of popcorn for me with a lot of butter. Eric, what's your popcorn rating for Godzilla -1?
I was ready to dog this movie. I am not a easy sell on, I guess, the Asian media when it comes to that. I feel like they have a particular way of doing things, and they don't really stray from that, from their traditional way of making it, whether it be acting, whether it be film cut editing or sound dubbing or anything else like that. But as much as I was ready to not like it in the first half of this movie, everything came around, and I really did enjoy this movie. I don't have a whole lot of things to gripe about this movie with. I don't think there's a whole lot of issues with this movie. I feel like any questions that are left for me to answer are there intentionally and left open so that they could be answered or added on to later additions if they make more of this. Visually, this movie rocked. I think this looked great. I think comparing to the other Godzilla movies, I'm going to watch the destruction of Ginza on YouTube way often. This was an awesome way of doing it. Just everything, I think, is what I wanted in a Godzilla movie. It knew what it was supposed to do, and it delivered. I really do feel that. I would give it a large. I really do think that if I was going to watch a Godzilla movie, it would be this one. The ones that we're getting now with these Americanized Godzilla vs. Kong, New Empire, King of the Monsters, kind of in this monster franchise of Skull Island and this whole thing with John Goodman, all that, this new saga in the post 2020s. That it's getting real cartoony. It's getting real ridiculous. It's getting to be Transformers territory, right? Where the story sucks, where it seems like the monsters have super abilities, and the humans even have more super abilities as they're able to circumnavigate the globe in mere minutes here. Hey, we're in America. We need to get to Japan real quick. Next scene, boom, they're in Japan. And what the hell are kids doing in these movies? Why is... Anyway.
She's not in the new one, don't worry.
Good. But that's, a gripe for those movies, because those movies have a lot of issues. This movie stayed in its lane. This movie knew what it was trying to do. It's out on a mission. I think it did a great job for it. I would recommend this movie, above the other ones that we have seen in the past, well, the entire time we've been doing this.
This movie's amazing. This movie's great.
This is the one that I wanted, and I am happy that I got it. You know what? The only gripe that I would have, I just want more Godzilla.
Yeah, which is a good thing though, right? Because it's making us want more. And we are eventually going to review Godzilla vs. Kong, New Empire. That will happen this season eventually. So we can kind of have these two to compare against. But right now, this movie and Holdover, it's unanimous, are going to be in our Movie Guys Best Film of the Year category, right? Because we both gave it a large.
And Kills of the Flower Moon?
And Kills of the Flower Moon, yes, you're right. My fault. That's going to be, oh, dude, this is going to be a tough year.
It's starting to come up here. Okay, now we're starting to shape up a category here.
I'm kind of curious what the fans are going to choose. I mean, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see if everyone feels the same way so far. If they agree that like Holdovers is a large bag, if this movie's a large bag, if Kills of the Flower, if they agree.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah,
I think a lot of movies that we've been harsh on and give little to no bag or anything like that, I feel like it's been just. Again, like personal on a personal viewing kind of scale, I think we've been on point. But
I think so too. I think this is going to be turning out. This is going to be an interesting Christmas for our fans because I'm curious what they're going to do. But you guys will tell us when you vote. But you can go check this episode on many others on movieguyspodcast.podbean.com or wherever you get your podcast from. Of course, we are on. We have a new episode every Thursday, so make sure to download us. Eric, thank you so much for joining me. And we'll be back next Thursday for another awesome episode. Have a good night.
But it happens to the best of us. I will say that I noticed already a big difference. You are coming in sharp. Sharp HD.
You know what frustrates me about this, though, is that for months, years, may I say, I've always been in that room.
Yeah?
Why now? Why is there an issue now?
Did you get a new
Nope.
router? A new
Nope.
Did you get any other new equipment? Did you move your TV?
Nope.
You did move your TV. I know for a fact you did.
Last spring. We did have an issue last spring. Just saying, bud.
You sent me a picture, bud.
In the springtime. We haven't had this issue in the springtime.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
It could be a few different things. Either way, Wi-Fi is as fun as it is, and this is for everybody listening. Mm-hmm. As fun as Wi-Fi is, it will never beat a hard connect, which I am. I like it. I keep it hard. Okay? I always keep it hard. And it's always connected. I keep it hard and connected.